Hello, hello, my dear friends, you've reached Elena's bar. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. She'll help improve your fitness, but there's also so much more. 'Cause here are just a few things that this channel has in store. There's bar and there's Pilates and there's belly dancing too. And many styles of yoga, so I'm sure there's one for you. Then watch her practice pianist string from right within her home. She's in such big condition, she'll outrun the metronome. Elena's bar, Elena's bar. They're the best place on the internet, the very best by far. It's not just the piano, but the ukulele too. The guitar and violin are even more that she can do. She does so many different things, it's hard not to lose track. I nearly didn't mention that she posts on her Substack. Elena's bar, Elena's bar. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. Yet controversial topics may be brought up for discussion, but try not to provoke her or she'll swear at you in Russian. And sometimes certain topics can make quite a big impression. So remember, you take part at your own risk and your discretion. Yeah, the sBarre, yeah, the sBarre. The best place on the internet, the very best by far. You might even meet Anita if you're quite a loyal fan. She's got a fixed male cat, but she's so desperate for a man. We've really got it all, then you couldn't ask for more. So sit right back and watch Elena shave a 3 or 4. Elena's bar, Elena's bar. The best place on the internet, the very best by far.
Hello, hello, my dear friends. Welcome back. Welcome everyone to Elena's Bar, the resurgence of sanity. How are you doing, guys?
Sun shining, it's a good day.
Good.
I exist.
Exist. Really, darling? Okay. Well, we have an interesting...
Woke 'em up.
Yeah.
That's right. You did.
Well, you told me that you were going to be on this live stream because it's the topic that you can participate in.
No, it's the topic I came up with, so I have
you
to be
came
here.
up with, so
Now,
you have to...
as much as I'm going to complain about the hour, this is my own fault. So the complaining is
yes, you did it to yourself. You did it to yourself. Because I'm only here sharing the ideas that you guys come up with, you know.
And Elena never begs for you to come on her Saturday streams, does she?
Only every Friday night.
Yeah. So, but you're already being so selective, and we rarely see you here. So it's great to have you back, Plutarch. Yeah, thanks for joining us today. Yeah, guys, we continue talking about submission. Last week we talked about submission, the first part, when we looked into the church ladies and some of the interviews that Pearl Davis was running in different churches. And now this topic is kind of related, but we will focus more on propaganda. Yeah. What, Nick?
We talk about propaganda a lot on this channel.
Yes, we did.
Why? Okay. Why is that? Just for some background, Elena's degree that she, because all women love their credentials, Elena's degree is in what you might call propaganda. Is it not?
Kind of mass media, yeah, I guess.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
How to brainwash people, basically. How to get people to buy and how to convince them with what you want them to do. Yeah.
Okay. So my point being here is that she has a fascination with this topic that predates my existence in her life. So
yeah.
While the topic is my idea and something I've talked about elsewhere, and of course with her we actually do in our lunch and dinner conversations when we're talking about red pill stuff or this stuff, propaganda comes up quite a bit because Elena has a bit of a fascination with the topic. So we talk about it a lot.
I have
And-
fascination with quite a few topics, actually. Psychology and propaganda. Yeah, these are the two of my favorite ones.
Well, as we'll see today, there'll also be another favorite.
Well, yes, but that's for the end of the
It's
show.
too late, Nick. You're going to end. Yeah, guys, stick around till the end. We have a special surprise, okay? Yeah, we do. That one is also my favorite topic. Yeah, you're right. So yeah, well, let's start with the basics. What is propaganda, Plutarch? Tell us.
You're the propagandist. You tell me.
Well, they've heard me saying it many times. We did a couple of live streams on this topic. So, yeah, it's just telling people half truths and trying to manipulate people based on their emotions. This is the standard definition of propaganda. There are different tactics that people use to do that. So, yeah, we've covered the basics, guys. If you want to watch that live stream that we did a while ago, actually.
She's talking, but she
She turned off her.
No, I didn't. It does it sometimes.
No. Okay, so propaganda is not just have truths. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
propaganda is any form of speech that is designed to encourage the listener to operate down the desired path. You can tell lies, you can tell whole truths and say this is the truth and here's what you should do about it, right? That's a form of propaganda. Here, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So propaganda is not necessarily about the truth or not. The truth can be used, the truth can be ignored depending on your objective.
Yeah, if the truth is used, it makes it actually more powerful, because if it's based on the truth, like feminist propaganda, it's based on female nature. This is why it was so successful, and it still is successful.
Well, does everyone here agree with the idea that feminism leverages female nature for certain ends? That there is an agreement between feminist propaganda and base female natures. Is that something we all agree with?
Sure.
Okay. So if that's the case, then is propaganda telling women what to do? Or is it really just giving them permission to do what they really want to do?
I think it's more the second, because women already want to do these things. If they didn't want to do it, they wouldn't do it, regardless of how much you propagandize them.
I agree.
Okay. The reason I asked that question is because when you actually study the history and efficacy of propaganda, it really only works as a permission system. Well, people are going to say, but what about the leftist propaganda, the communist propaganda? Okay, let's take the communist propaganda. If you've read a single shred of Russian or early communist history, 1910s, 1920s, you will know that the peasants were very, very angry about how the boyars,
the boyars,
the boyars were treating them.
Mm-hmm.
And so communist propaganda did not convince the peasants to do something that they did not want to do. The peasants were already extremely angry about how they were being treated, and communism gave them permission to behave how they ended up behaving. This is the United States. We would never do that. Oh, but they do. We had riots in a certain city last year where a couple people got shot. Okay. Why were those people so comfortable behaving in an absolutely unhinged way? Well, they've been propagandized. They've been given permission to behave that way. And the propaganda gave them both ideological justification and moral and ethical permission to behave in such a violent manner as to get shot. That's what propaganda does. It doesn't convince people to do something. These were not people who, if these are not people who were mild-mannered and just normies sitting there going, oh, well, I would never do that. And then somebody came and propagandized them to behave violently towards the police. No, these were people who already wanted an excuse to behave violently towards the police, and propaganda gave them the ideological and ethical permission to do so.
Yeah. So what you're saying is women always wanted to rebel against male authority and propaganda. We are talking about the leftist propaganda, the feminist propaganda that all women are so eager to blame, even in the ThreadCon sphere.
Hey, Nick.
They already wanted to rebel.
Hey, Nick, how far back might this go in history?
Oh, it probably goes back to the garden. Or after the garden. Garden of Eden.
Okay, there you go. Okay. As far back as we have recorded human history, women have sought to rebel against men. Oh. And then throughout history, there have been various attempts to get women to rebel, the most successful of which is what we call feminism. But the underlying drive for women to rebel has been there since we have recorded history. Very likely it's been there longer than that. But my point stands. None of this, women were not mild-mannered and then suddenly coerced into behaving this way. No, right? Women have always wanted to behave this way and were prevented from doing so by the strong men in their lives, and particularly in the case of early history, the absolute just state that they had to live in.
Yeah, let's just assume for a moment, hypothetically, it's not going to happen. But if women, let's say, were these mild creatures who were compliant to begin with, who didn't want to rebel against their men, and then you would tell them, well, ladies, you just stay married, right? You pop up kids, you don't need to be in the workforce. How many, like, if that was the case, right, that the ThreadCons are trying to push that, saying that not all women are like that, well, propaganda was forced on them, feminism was forced on them. How many women, why do we see the birth rates are falling down? Why do we see the marriages collapse then? At the rate that they are collapsing.
Why do we see it?
Yeah, I mean, if women were such mild creatures, and then all you had to do is just propagandize them, we shift the blame on propaganda, we just blame everything on feminism, and then convince women to stay married, to get married, right? Why don't they do it at a large scale? Or why do they do it but just to get the attention, and then a few years later
No.
Not
The right question to ask. A better question to ask from the standpoint of propaganda is, why isn't if women were so naturally predisposed to be mild-mannered and compliant, why isn't such propaganda working today?
Well, they would say that because the influence was, it's like primacy effect, feminism got there first, to convince them otherwise. And now getting them back is going to be harder. It's not
Okay.
impossible, but it will require so much more propaganda to beat already the
No,
existing
I'm
propaganda. I'm
going to
just,
disagree.
okay.
I think propaganda only works in one direction. Because people desire freedom. Women desire freedom. Freedom, theoretically, let's call it a good thing. But freedom requires discipline and logic and reason to keep it from turning into license to do whatever you want, to do what thou wilt. Well, propaganda works to take the concept of freedom and promote it towards license. Because that's the direction people, that's chaos, I guess. It's I'm looking for the physics word. It
Entropy
just
is
goes
physics word.
entropy. Yes, that's the word. Entropy. So therefore, you cannot use propaganda to move them against the direction of entropy. What is required to do that? Force. Energy. But it's in the term of a force, has to move them against entropy. So propaganda only works towards moving things more and more liberal. And at some point, it gets so chaotic that an overwhelming force comes in and imposes boundaries on the system.
So what Steve is talking about here is the second law of thermodynamics. And really what he's trying to get at is that, and this is the sort of problem, is that in order to combat entropy, you must spend even more energy combating it. It's always an uphill climb, so to speak. Okay.
But isn't it what some threadcons are promoting? We just need to do more. We just need to do more propaganda against that propaganda.
That's my point. They are promoting just wife up the whores, have babies. They are trying to use propaganda to move things against entropy. It will fail. It cannot work. You cannot use propaganda to move the needle back the other direction. You have to use force. So they're going to fail.
I think at an abstract level, Steve is probably right. That it is easier to propagandize people to do things that are pro-entropy or entropic. Because why? Because humans always want to spend less energy. It's easy to propagandize a woman that she can live the life of a degenerate whore and then some simp will just come along and save her, and she doesn't have to do anything for it. She can just be the whore, and then it's the Sheryl Sandberg model of life. Just be a whore in your 20s, and in your 30s there will be a rich hot guy waiting to pick you up and cover for you.
Yep. And there's a cartoon that kind of describes this.
Yeah, because it's
You've watched what?
Go ahead.
You've watched Roadrunner and Wile E. Coyote? Have you ever seen the one where Wile E. Coyote is in the shack and somehow the shack falls off the cliff and it's plummeting to the ground, and he's in free fall, and it is so wonderful. And then at the end, all you got to do is time it right and step off the porch onto the ground and you won't crash. So women can have their fun in free fall. And then they need an escape before they suffer the consequences, which is
church.
Jesus. Church. Become a born-again virgin. And now you don't have to suffer the consequences.
You're right.
Like Wile E. Coyote stepping off the porch right before the thing crashes.
Yeah, they don't want to restrain women in any way. They don't want to discipline them in any way. They just tell men, wife up this horse, and women just are. They are who they are. They fucked around. Now they are reformed. Now they're transformed. Right? They deserve to be bailed out.
Well,
No,
okay.
no
But
temporal
but why are
consequences
they
for
doing that?
women.
Why are they doing that? Okay. See, the thing is that the people doing this do understand how propaganda works. Okay.
Mhm.
But if they ever admit that propaganda is is a permission system and not a coercion technique, the moment you do that, you're kind of admitting that it only works on people who already agree with you. Okay. So there is this idea, and it is particularly prevalent amongst the Christians, because Christians are so used to being able to use force, and Christians struggle with this idea that God uses force on people. He does. Okay. So what the Christians are used to being able to use the force of "you will rot in hell" to convince people to do what they should do right. But now we have an entire propaganda system that says you can be an absolute slag and not suffer any consequences for it. And then people are like, oh, well, okay, I'll do that because it's easier, because that's what they actually want to do. Okay. In fact, slag isn't even the best example of how this propaganda works, of how propaganda works. The land whales are. No, because, okay, consider this. Every human alive today needs to eat,
Mm-hmm.
right? We all need to eat to survive. Okay. So there are endless amounts of commercials telling you they're saying, oh, you need to eat at McDonald's or you need to eat at Burger King, right?
Mm-hmm.
But are they actually saying you need, are they telling you to eat at McDonald's or Burger King when you act? We don't have cable, so Elena doesn't have to suffer through all of American.
I used to watch some of those.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But
I know
you know
what
what I
you're
mean?
talking about. Yeah. Mhm.
But watch what they actually do. They never say eat at insert food chain. Okay.
Mhm.
They never tell you what to do.
They are sneaky about it, and they are telling a story. Recently, I was watching an advertisement from Rice Coffee, guys, um, showing a fat woman, and nothing worked for her. So she was in desperation. No exercising worked for her. No intermittent fasting worked for her. She was struggling, and then she came across this magical rice coffee. She started drinking it, and then she lost a few pounds, and she didn't have to exercise. Like all of this just like solved by one product. So they sell you the illusion that you can skip the hard work, you don't have to commit, you don't have to be disciplined, you don't have to do anything, but just use that only product that will solve all of your problems.
But what did they actually do there? What they said was, if you drink our product, you won't have to exercise. You won't have to eat healthy. Our product. Now, they didn't say it, they imply
They
it.
implied it, they showed it. They showed it.
They
You don't have
show
to say it, you just show it to people.
There-
And
there-
women
there's a-
will be, especially fat, lazy women, they will be like, oh, you're telling me I don't have to exercise? I don't have to watch my diet?
There's an old saying. And when you're trying to talk to a group of any topic,
Mhm.
and the saying is show, don't tell.
Yeah. It's more effective when they show it to you.
Correct. Now, the reason what they actually did there in this commercial that Elaine is talking about was what they said was, or what they showed was, if you use our product, you have our permission to eat whatever you want else, or whatever it, and the cool thing about well done propaganda is that it allows the human to pour into the propaganda their own feelings, motivations, and beliefs. And this is why I say it's a permission system. Okay. The human that's being propagandized has to pour in their own belief system. Okay. The propaganda is an empty vessel. So in order for propaganda to be effective, the human must participate in it. Okay. And they must want that thing. Okay. Well, of course, all women want to be, well, okay, not all these days, but a lot of women want to be less chubby than they are. Right. Okay. So if you give them this propaganda vessel which they can pour this dream into and say that, then they can say, but if I just drink this silly coffee, I will be better. Okay. Yeah. They already wanted what that propaganda offered. The propaganda just offered them an easy, less entropic path, a more entropic path to get there.
And a lot of women will buy into it because they don't want to do the work. Go ahead, Steve.
Are you implying that women want to eat chocolate and not get fat?
As a matter of fact, I am.
Have a cake and eat it too, huh?
Okay. By the way, on your screen is the biggest chocolate hound I have ever met.
I love chocolate, guys, but I only eat dark chocolate, and it has to be high quality.
Here comes the various programmings and
no, dark chocolate actually has enzymes, antioxidants.
And it fits into what you want to believe. There's some propaganda here, and you filled in the rest, and you're participating with it. But
it's good for hormones.
Women absolutely love chocolate. I mean, it's like an addictive.
I don't like
substance.
Milk chocolate.
It's like chocolate is like catnip for women.
Yeah, I love chocolate.
It is.
But I love dark chocolate, guys.
Yeah, okay. But guys, what you just heard Elena doing was she has been given permission by certain chocolate propaganda to say, but dark chocolate does this and it has that benefit. And see, isn't it that great? And you hear the feminists doing the same thing. Okay, you hear the feminists say, but don't you want to be free? Don't you want to live your own life how you want to? They do the same thing.
Yeah, I know.
Because so in defense, eating chocolate is not a bad thing as long as you do it in moderation and you have some discipline over that.
Yeah.
When it goes to full-blown license, you eat too much and then you expect, because you have no self-discipline over it.
Well, and
propaganda really pushes it to that point. So, keep it in moderation.
In moderation. Yeah, you're right. The reason why I prefer dark chocolate is because you can't eat a lot of it. It's bitter. Like it doesn't take
guys. To audience,
I beg to differ.
Nick, go for it. Nick.
Yeah, I don't eat a lot of it.
Oh, you don't eat a lot. You can't eat a lot because it's dark chocolate. No, I just need another glass of milk.
I don't drink milk.
Well, there you go. If you want eat more chocolate, drink more milk, more calories, more.
You are just okay, whatever. Ladies, don't listen to them. Limit your portions and go for dark chocolate.
So when I was married, living with my wife and her two stepdaughters, we would go to Aldi, and I would buy the chocolate at Aldi, and I liked that. And it would be in my cupboard. And, a week later, I would say, you know what? I feel like a chocolate bar. And I would go look in there, and you know what?
You wouldn't find it.
Chocolate in a house with 3 women does not last very long.
Yeah, it really doesn't.
Okay, but so the chocolate thing ended up being great because you guys saw how effective propaganda, pro-chocolate propaganda, can be as a propaganda tool, as a permission system. He gave you in her rabid defense of dark chocolate 5 different reasons, 5 different permissions as to why you should eat dark chocolate. Okay, you guys, did you see how fast that happened?
And she already wanted to eat chocolate before the propaganda came out.
Oh God, yes.
You don't have to convince a woman that she wants to eat chocolate. It's in her nature.
Yeah, you just have to direct and give her the right type of chocolate to eat.
So is propaganda more effective on women because of their hamster wheel rationalizations?
Yes, it is. Chocolate is a good example here because the women everyone's looking for permission to do what they want to do anyway. Okay. But men are far more likely to recognize the consequences of doing that thing. For example, if I eat too much chocolate, I'm going to feel sick tomorrow. And if I eat too much chocolate every day, I'm going to get fat in a week or two. So the man might say, yeah, I don't really need that chocolate. The woman is far more likely to continue pigging out and getting fat on chocolate. Why? Because she wants the chocolate. And unless for women, unless there's an outside force limiting the intake, she will just keep going because all of the commercials on TV show her the chocolate. It doesn't look how great that chocolate is. Yeah, I really want some chocolate. Look how great that tub of ice cream looks. Yeah, I really want that ice cream.
Yeah.
Women don't have that break.
Limiting, restraining discipline. Yeah. Well, this is why I keep saying no artificial sugars after 5 p.m., especially for women.
Okay, she's doing her health spiel now.
No, I mean exercise.
Okay.
If you eat calories, you have to go and burn them.
But okay, guys. Now let's do this as a counter argument. Okay. Elena's here telling women, oh, women, you need to exercise. If you will feel better, you will, all this great stuff that will happen if you exercise. Okay, gentlemen of the panel, what is the ratio that you see just walking down the street of lumpy, just dysgenic fat women versus trim, athletic women who exercise?
1 in 10, but it's also skewed because I see a lot of women between 18 and 25, which are thin and shapely, and
because they haven't had
get
time
older
yet.
than that. Yeah. Not so much. So it's basically like all women are eating chocolate, and it only catches up after the age of 25.
Yeah, ladies, if you only eat chocolate and don't exercise,
this isn't about the chocolate and exercise. This is about the propaganda. Elena tried just now. So she gave you all the propaganda reasons to eat chocolate. And what does everyone do? They go, oh yeah, we know women love chocolate. Yeah, this will work on women. And then she turns around and tries to say, oh, women, you need to go take care of yourselves. You need to exercise. You need to eat healthy. You need to eat your chocolate in moderation. And the reason I asked the question I did of the guys of how many women they see who do that is because it doesn't work.
It doesn't work, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You cannot propagandize somebody to do something that they do not already want to do.
That's so true. I mean, it applies to fitness too. There are only a few people, in particular women, who stick to the program, who stay consistent with the fitness program. And I see a lot of them. Sometimes they show up and then I never see them again, because they expect fast results. If something hurts right in the class,
No, it's
even
not
though you
fast
tell them,
results.
they
They expect easy results.
easy results. Yes, easy and fast, I would say. Yeah, they expect that like right after the first class, they will have lifted butt, the trim stomach and everything, and it never works that way. So yeah. Yeah,
You know
basically you
what's
can't convince women to exercise if they don't want already to exercise.
you know what's so much easier, and you know what the land whales do instead of exercising?
Drink rice coffee.
No, they want to be beautiful too.
Or they normalize.
No,
Well,
what action do they do?
It's at the tips of their fingers.
Tips of
Isn't it at the tips of their fingers, Steve?
Yes, you're not getting it, Elena. Land whales get their fingernails done. They go to
Oh,
get a manicure. And then, oh,
I
look how
wasn't thinking
beautiful
about
I
it.
am. And it was so easy.
Yeah. Well, yeah, they are definitely compensating for the lack of their physique with their long nails. Yeah. Yeah, that's so true.
And okay, now this is unconscious propaganda that women are trying to use on men. See, I'm beautiful. Look at my fingernails. Does it work?
Yeah. Yeah.
Nick,
Well,
does it
it's
work?
quick. It's quick and easy. Yeah, like a legend seed here says, what are the two magic words in infomercials to sell anything? Quick and easy. Yeah. Quick fix to your
Well,
problem.
okay. Going back to the fingernail answer, it's quick and easy. See, I'm pretty. I have
Mhm.
pretty fingernails. Quick and easy. Okay. Nick, you were going to say something?
Steve asked me something, and we went somewhere, and
Okay, so do the fingernails work as
no,
women's attempt to use that propaganda on men?
no, not at all.
No, you're not seeing a beautiful woman. You're just seeing a land whale with painted nails.
Here you go, ladies. This is
but-
how
but-
men view your long nails.
But this is evidence again of the point. Okay, if painted nails, see, I'm beautiful, were enough, then why aren't the men just swooning over the land whales? Well, to all the men, the answer is obvious. He's still a disgusting land whale, just with pretty nails. Okay,
Yeah.
because you cannot make a man like a lumpy dysgenic land whale by propaganda. And here's the thing. We have been subject to decades of exactly that propaganda. We were watching Criminal Minds last night. And if you guys know anything about Criminal Minds and the characters involved, of course, one of the big through lines of the show is Shamar Moore, who is, chiseled, and Kristen Vangsness, who is not. Okay, but it's all about how he takes care of her and he loves her, but he only loves her like a sister. The actual girl that he ends up marrying is fantastically hot. Okay, but there is this propaganda, and this is a show that started back in the mid 2000s. This is 20 years ago now. Okay.
Mhm.
There has been a push for decades to try and convince men to wife up land whales. And there are a few men who will do it. because they believe in their ideology and their belief systems demand that they do it. But for the average man, we're all looking at this going, nah, I'm good. I don't need that. Right? And so the thing that confuses people about this is that there's always a group, a small percentage that will do as they are told by the propaganda. Okay? So it's easy to say, oh, well, we can just tell people we can convince anybody to do anything with propaganda. No, you can convince about 5% of the population you can coerce about 5% of the population.
Okay, Steve, do you remember that book by Rachel Wilson that we were discussing briefly last time? She was saying there, and you were correct, that like most women were forced into feminism because most of them didn't want it. And it kind of contradicts what we've been talking about here.
I wouldn't say they were forced into it.
But
I would
there
say
were a few aristocrats that she was mentioning there that they were really agitating all of the women to.
Oh yes. Okay,
that.
let's talk about that.
Mm-hmm.
Most women did not want the right to vote. Most women thought, yeah, we got it pretty good here. So there was a propaganda effort to convince women that they were oppressed and needed women's rights and all this.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so it actually got implemented by the minority. And most women, I think, were raised by fathers back then and had the discipline and in some greater amount of wisdom to realize, no, this is not a good thing. But then once this came about, okay, women do want more freedom. And then it became the norm. And then all women today pretty much think, oh, yes, we were oppressed in the past. We need the right to vote. We want this. We need women's rights. We need equal opportunity, because that was in the direction of entropy, in the direction of freedom. And over time, it just became the norm. Now to undo that, you cannot undo that with propaganda.
Because
go ahead.
Well, the reason you can't undo it with propaganda is very simple. Those women, even back then, if you read what they wrote, they acknowledged that their life would be more free with it. They were the anti-feminists were actually not the big movement. They were the small movement. They were the smaller of the two factions. Okay, they were just smart enough to realize that their lives were easier for their submission, and that's why they said, well, this really probably isn't something that we want, because we have it pretty good. Okay, what propaganda sold the women was not that. How do I put this? What propaganda sold them was that they would have even more, that their life would be even better, that if they just got real freedom, that they would be there, that there would be more of what they already had.
And I don't think it was the majority. Yeah, I don't think it was the majority of women. The majority of women, because if you look into female nature, it already always seeks the rebellion against male authority. And then when we look into like how did it all play out, I don't think the ones who were against the feminist propaganda were the majority. They were the minority.
I just said that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Consider there are three groups: the pro-rights,
yes,
the anti-feminists, and the vast majority in the middle,
correct,
85%, which were, nah, just leave it the way it is. So the vast majority of women were not in favor of it. But a small minority of those not in favor were actually strongly advocating for it not to happen.
Steve,
the majority
can I stop you here?
Sure.
So, no, it's not that they were against it. It's better to think of, it's better to state it as they had no opinion one way or the other if they were aware the fight was going on at all.
You know, well, I kind of agree with you. You notice I said they were not in favor of it. I didn't say they were against it.
Right. So
It's kind of, you and I are saying the same thing. I'm stating it a little bit more strongly than you, but we're generally in agreement.
right. So, but here's the thing, and this is the vast majority of people are go along to get along. So you don't have to. People think, oh, I need to win 50% of the vote. No, you don't. You need to get about 10% of the voting population on your side, and you will drag the rest of them with you. So, because now to go up to climb back up the hill and towards a less feminist future, you're going to actually need more people, and there's only one way to do that. That's a whole separate topic.
Mm-hmm.
It is very difficult to roll a boulder up a hill. It's very easy to push a boulder off a hill and let it fall down the hill. Okay, so what you will see, particularly on the TradCon side of the world, is, oh, we just need to go back in time to the 1950s. Okay, now and there's another whole conversation we can have about what the 1950s was actually like. That's not my point and purpose with this show. Okay, but the basic idea is, well, all we need to do is just roll back. What you're really saying is, I want to roll that rock that the feminists pushed off the hill, and I want to roll it back up the same hill. That's not how history has ever worked. And the idea that you're going to propagandize women to undo something that they spent near as makes no difference 200 years, 2 centuries working towards, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not going to be enough.
Well, you can't use it. If somebody was brought to something with one tool, that same tool cannot be used to drag them away from it.
Every Stein, single bird, Timowitz.
What is that, Nick?
Steve heard me.
I don't think I heard it.
Oh, I said every Stein, single bird, Timowitz.
Okay.
You're propagandists behind these feminist movements and the Marxist movements that got this.
Yeah,
Yes.
I got it now. I got you.
Yes.
Okay. So there, yes, propaganda. This is not to say that propaganda doesn't work. Propaganda only works under certain conditions. That's what I'm trying to say.
So the conditions are she hits the wall, and even then, let's look at a typical scenario, right? Let's look at Anita from my Anita Moorhead saga. So she fucks around with the bad boys. Now she hits the wall. It's external. That kind of restraint, the wall is coming for her, and she realizes. So the smarter women, the smarter of them, they realize that they can find a simp who will bail them out, and then they convert into Christianity. They go to church to be bailed out.
Well, okay, this is where particularly the TradCons and the right has really screwed up with their understanding of propaganda.
Mm-hmm.
So they see the propaganda as advertising to these post-wall women who are now desperately shuffling into their churches looking for a bailout. Well, why are they looking for a bailout? Well, they've exhausted the easiest of options. And for a woman, the easiest of options is let your tits hang out and watch the men come up and drool over you. But they don't do that as nearly as much at 35. So it's harder to get. You guys remember a couple of years ago, we had those TikToks of the women describing how they had a different date every night of the week, and that they don't actually buy groceries because they can always get a date.
Mhm.
Okay. Yeah. But by 35, 40, there's not as many guys lining up to take you out on a date. And so
Well,
you
because
can't,
there are younger, hotter chicks out there.
well, yes, but that's not the point.
Mhm.
Okay. The point is that all of a sudden, a woman who used to be able to fill her calendar with dinners, well, now she's got nights at home and where no guy's ringing her up to take her out to dinner. Now she actually has to buy food for the first time in her life.
Mhm.
Okay. So you hear about this thing called church, where these things that are called men have been told by the church
Mhm.
that they should get married and have kids. And so these women go, you know, if I go to this thing called church, there will be this ocean of good Christian men who have been told that they need to take care of me and the children. Here, you guys, what I'm describing is the TradCon Christian propaganda is just one step more difficult. Yeah, she's going to actually have to go to church, and yeah, she's going to actually have to get married, and it's not the best freedom out there. Okay, but here's the thing.
Well,
But it beats
Let me-
being alone and not
let me
having food on
comment
the
on
table.
this. You described a rational thought process. Women don't necessarily do it. They're not rationally thinking through
True.
doing it. It's kind of like instinct, but there is the Christian propaganda of come to church, find a man.
Mhm.
It's just very simple, and they want to find a man, so yeah, I'll try this. They're not really doing any in-depth
Well,
thought.
Steve, what other option do
Correct.
they have? Like me as a woman, right? I'm aging and I know that I'm running out of options. Nobody's inviting me on dates. Nobody's giving
No
me
one's
the
inviting
free
you on dates
money.
because they know that they'll get shot at the track.
That's
Right.
okay. That's true for
But,
this
like-
theoretical woman. Yes, it still probably is a good decision.
And
But
this is how they end up being a TradCon church whore. I'm talking about
Yes,
the reformed
because
whores. Mhm.
because the change is come to church, find a man, not change yourself.
Yeah.
Look at how you made
Well,
bad
some
choices,
even
be
might-
accountable, and then come.
Some women might do a few changes and adjustments, like trim
Ah,
off. I remember George Bruno who shared a video where she was cutting out her green hair and growing her natural hair, like
Okay,
dressing
okay,
the
no, no,
floral
no.
dress, like the,
No, okay, okay, stop.
Changing their
superficial.
mask.
superficial
exactly.
things,
It's
yeah,
su-
the
it's-
masks.
Yes, it's superficial. It
Yeah.
women do not change themselves; they change their appearance to match what they think that the appropriate appearance is to get what they want.
Yeah,
It's no different than the fingernails thing. Same thing.
yeah, same thing.
Okay.
Actually. Yeah.
Look, again, you're trying to run ahead with all the words and explain everything. I'm going to change her title to Miss Boil the Ocean with words. Nick gets what Nick gets. So anyway, the point here is that the TradCons are saying, well, if you just come to church, you'll get what you want. Okay. Now, what you will often hear them say in defense of doing this is, yes, but if we can get them into church, we will show them how much better this lifestyle is versus the one they were living before, and they will naturally fall in love with and submit themselves.
They're teaching them something else. Those religious women who really buy in and come in and reform their life, you listen to the way they speak, pious, insufferable, self-centered, solipsistic. So do you know what I call that? Female piss talk.
Guys, I want to show you something. This was shared with me by Coach Vlad. We had him a few months ago, and I hope to get him back at some point. So here is a video for us where a woman is saying that she is submissive and everything. And I'm just curious what you think about it, okay? Wait. Hold on, I'm having trouble here with the sound. I'll just re-upload it and... Wait, I can't... Okay.
Feet has been one of the most humbling and heart expanding things I have ever done, because what it represents to me is a posture of devotion and respect. It is me literally getting on my knees and assuming a submissive posture. And as a woman who used to buy into many of the new age feminist ideals, like I could not even fathom this. One of the biggest lies that I ever believed was that being submissive means being passive, powerless, or weak. And I know a lot of women consciously and unconsciously see it this way because it's how we're programmed. But in reality, submission is an active and conscious decision to acknowledge a dominant leading energy, yes, but to also say that I am so truly powerful and safe inside of myself that I give myself the gift of surrender as I submit my will to the will of the man that I trust most. And this is what so many women secretly or not so secretly wish for, is to be able to trust so deeply that she can completely turn her brain off and just give it over. So when I kneel at my husband's feet, I kiss his feet affectionately. I rub my head around his ankles and the tops of his feet. And as I'm on my knees, in my mind, I thank him. I thank him for his leadership, for his protection and provision, for his love, and for all of the responsibility that he carries, seen and unseen by me, because we all have invisible burdens that we carry. Men have invisible burdens, and so do women. And the faster that we can acknowledge this, the faster we can respect and empathize with one another and actually live in harmony, as I believe men and women are intended to do. Right? We're meant to be in divine union. We're not meant to be in competition. And when we actually feel safe to be in the energy that feels most natural for us, usually it's men in their masculine energy and women in our feminine energy, then we recognize that the two not only complement each other, but they need each other. So yeah, I get on my knees and I bow at my husband's feet, but it's not really for him. I'm sure it's a very interesting experience for him where he feels loved and respected and sometimes maybe even entertained, but selfishly it's for me. It's my reminder to open my heart, to recognize what my husband provides, and to
went on a
feel
journey, Steve.
Who he is as a man.
What, guys? What, Nick?
She thinks she converted herself, but she's still expressing the neo-pagan energy.
The energy she's talking about, a lot of the language she uses is actually very Hindu coded.
Yes.
You'll see a lot of this same language in you guys, the healing crystals, insane chick that you guys, all of you know, one of them somewhere. That's her, and she's even wearing the appropriate earrings for such. But that line right at the what?
And you know what? She might actually be submissive in her behavior, but her rationalization, I don't buy it.
I don't buy it either. Yeah. How she thinks.
So there was a word salad there, but is she pious? Insufferable.
Yes.
Yes.
Self-centered?
Yes.
Yes.
Solipsistic?
Yes.
Yes.
This is a perfect example of piss talk.
Well, and this is the love bombing lip service that they give to men, and a lot of men will buy into this. I'm not saying that it won't work.
No, not a lot of men will buy into this.
Some men will be like, "Oh, but she's on her knees." See, we've been telling them, ladies, get on your knees. So this is how she gets on your knees, and see, notice the language that she used there.
The reasons why she's on her knees are probably not the reasons why she's actually on her knees, not the reasons she's
Elena, yeah, exactly. Nick is right, and I know what Nick is saying. Elena, you're being too okay, guys, Elena can be a little autistic sometimes, just so you know. And in this particular case, he's very likely Chad Chaddington, and
Yep.
she's on her knees for Chad Chaddington reasons, not
Yeah. Well, okay, whatever her reasons are, she says that it makes her more powerful and strong, and she does it for herself,
it's just
not for him.
no, it's just it's piss talk. She's justifying the fact that she wants to be on her knees for Chad. It's a justification, not an explanation.
It's rationalization.
Mhm.
And the way women rationalize was talked about in the early years of the manosphere. Not so much talked about anymore, but it was a main theme. We need to recapture that theme, the rationalization of women.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
But here's the problem that the tradcons face. The tradcons are what's the term I'm looking for? They're naive. Okay.
Mhm.
The tradcons are naive. They think that when a woman says what this woman just says, that she actually believes that a word of what she's saying about it. That she's actually doing exactly those things for exactly those reasons. Okay. No, the guy's probably Chad Chaddington, and she would have been on her knees for that same guy. She looks about 40. She would have been on her knees for that same guy 20 years ago without having him having to do anything at all. Okay.
There's another alternative. Maybe she had her fun in her younger years and now is just trying to gain resources and keep resources. So she may not be married to a Chad. She may be married to just a simply beta provider. And she's trying to convince herself that he's a great man and keep his resources. And she can do this and she can fully believe it until she doesn't. And then there's a switch that flips in her brain and she has to just go on a journey.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
I'm more inclined to think what Steve is saying.
Well, okay.
There. Yeah.
Here's the thing. It doesn't matter why she's doing it. Because the tradcons are getting they're deceiving themselves into thinking that this is a truly changed woman who will who just embraces Christ and will become a good church mouse homemaker wife who wants to push out 3 kids. No. This woman still carries all of her feminism with her. And you can see that in the language that she used to describe how she used a ton of feminist language.
Yeah,
okay?
How it makes her powerful. It makes it the real power. And I've seen even female pastors are talking about it. Ladies,
no. Okay. Again.
It's your true power to submit to men.
The autistic has to boil the ocean with words. Okay. But none of that matters. Because the problem here is the tradcons think they are doing propaganda to coerce these women out of feminism. But because the tradcons don't understand propaganda at all, they don't understand women at all. Okay, they haven't studied the red pill at all. In fact, they vilify the red pill.
Yeah, they do. Yeah,
to the point where they have no hope. They get one-shotted by these women, and then you get the occasional meltdown. There's back when the Sarah Stock thing happened, Rachel Wilson had a bit of a meltdown. Well, why do I keep choosing all these women and they keep disappointing me? I forget exactly what she said. It was a tweet. It was a few months ago. You could go find it if you want. But it was basically, why do all these women keep disappointing me? Well, Rachel, the answer is you thought propaganda was a coercive technique to get women to behave how you want them to behave. What you didn't see is because you don't understand female nature. You don't understand it. I didn't say you don't experience it and don't recognize it. You don't understand it. Okay. You will get continually deceived because you're not listening to these women. All you do is you see, oh, they repented and they joined a church and they got married and they got a man and they had kids. And you go, they must be reformed. No, they're not.
Do you want another example of this kind of talk? I got one pulled up. We can listen to a few minutes of it.
Go for it, Steve.
Okay. I kind of have it queued up to not I mean, I didn't prepare this in advance, so but this proves the point. Okay.
I'm going to edit. Oi.
Oops. I just undid what I okay. Now let me play.
Husbands, yes, no, why or why not?
I believe that they should obey, but it has to do with everyone's submission to Christ, because most men they want obedience and certain qualities, but out of pride and out of fear. And it is mainly about you serving God and serving the other, not fulfilling your own needs to seem as anything. Most of these matters are private. Most of these matters are between God and the individual, and between God and the individuals who join that covenant with him. But as far as obeying the husband, you should, but also before you marry, make sure that that man is fully consecrated to the Lord, because the devil will always come to divide. And with so many people trying to get married young, there's also high divorce rates and things, even in the Christian community, even in the Catholic community, because of people leaning on themselves, on their own understanding of things. And that's just not the way it's ever going to work.
Do they allow divorced people in the church?
I'm not too sure about that. They are allowed, but I believe it is a difference on whether they can get married in the church or not. And these are mainly things that need to go through a special process, because everyone's situation is a little different. But yes, women should obey their husbands, but first and foremost, that man should be obeying Christ, because it is about submission to the Lord's will without your understanding. If there is difficulties, you pray through that, because most things are spiritual attacks.
Who decides if he's obeying Christ?
It will be in his fruit, peace, patience, kindness, temperance, goodness, self-control, all these qualities that you hold to bear fruit.
Otherwise, right, but according to who? Like, who gets to, because I go to a lot of different churches. So if it was black and white when someone was following God, we'd all agree. So we all know there's some, disagreement on what the Bible teaches, what it says. So someone has to have the final say. And would you say it should be the priest, the man, the woman? Who decides if he's following God or not?
It would usually be all three who would have to see, because we can.
And there's got to be a final say.
It will ultimately be the priest, because he, in his stewardship, he is following Christ, and he knows when things are done as a servant of the Lord versus as a servant of thyself.
Okay.
So there is a distinct difference, and you will know them by their fruits. A man must be consecrated to the Lord, and a man must be in.
Okay.
The priest.
I want to hear Nick comment on that.
Go for it, Nick.
Oh, the priest knows so much better. He's just a special snowflake.
I know, right? The priest is convinced by women who go to the church, who pay him, right? To please
you don't
them.
have to really listen to your husband, because he's a Christian now. If he wasn't a Christian, well, we'll have to deal with that 1 Peter 3 thing where it says, well, even if they're not, part of the faith, they can, win them by their chaste, quiet conversation. Oh, it's almost as if he becomes a Christian. Now the priest can hammer over his head, and now his wife doesn't really have to obey him if she feels it's unchristian.
So I want to point out a few things. Christians, Okay, what does it mean to be a Christian? Well, okay, what are the signs of being a Christian? I mean, traditional. Well, beyond attending church. Well, in the mainstream Protestant and in the Catholic and Orthodox, you're baptized. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
You get confirmed. You live a Christian life. But do you notice she comes up with a new one? He has to be consecrated.
Mm-hmm.
What does that even mean?
Exactly. It's a Catholic term. You consecrate yourself. You basically have a high devotion. It's an extra thing that can be done, but it's kind of a hard thing to really describe. But she knows her man needs to be consecrated. And then how does she know whether she should listen to him? Well, by his fruits. Well, that implies that she gets to judge whether she should listen to him, whether he is demonstrating the fruits of being a good leader. But if he's not a good leader, then you go to the priest. And then you listen to the priest. But really, who do you decide? Well, the three should decide.
The three,
I
yeah,
mean,
yeah,
this
yeah.
is all over the
Uh-huh.
map, squishy. She's talking pious. All her word salad is insufferable. She's
Yes.
self-centered, and it's solipsistic because she doesn't understand diddly squat.
Well, and she puts herself on the same level as her husband, as her priest. There is no hierarchy there. At least
I'm gonna read something.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna read. I'll beat them with the. They never talk about this. They can't deduce. They can't just use their minds to deduce the proper and obvious and necessary applications. 1 Peter 3, verse 1, verses. I'll just go through 1 through 5. Oh, 1 through 4. But pay particular attention to the very first verse. Likewise, you wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may, without the word, be won by the conversation of their wives. And by the way, it doesn't mean they're talking, it's talking about behavior. It's older English. While they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear, whose adorn not let it be the outward adorning of the plaiting of the hair, the wearing of gold, or the putting on of apparel, but let it be the hidden man of the heart, in which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of God of great price. For after this manner in the old time, the holy women also, who trusted in God, adorned themselves, being in subjection unto their own husbands. But again, be in subjection to your own husbands. Verse 1. And there's a conditional clause that if any not obey the word, meaning they're not believers, they're not in submission to Christ or God. So there's this thing where these women come to Christ and their husbands perhaps are not. They're not believers. They're not part of the church. So that actually the behavior of their wives may be the way that they win them to the Lord. That your Christianity actually has fruits. They say, hey, this made a difference in her life. She's actually a better one now that she's in Christ. She's actually submissive and subject to me.
But Nick,
Where's this in this woman? So these women are telling them that it's actually worse for their husband to be a Christian, and that not only will they now rebel against them if they don't feel like it, if they're not in tune with Christ and consecrated, but now the priest will hammer down on them.
Of course, yeah. The priest will castrate him for her.
Yes. Plutarch, you're going to say something?
oh well, so Nick, I was thinking back to the other video, the first one. But Nick, she's submitting to him. She's on her knees for him.
I know, right? Look at that, how sweet.
But here's the thing. Listen to both of these women. listen to them.
Mhm.
Does anyone on this panel believe that either of those women who were showed actually submitted it to their husbands in the way that Nick reading from the Bible described?
Absolutely not. That Catholic woman was talking unbiblical things. No, you don't need to observe the fruits of your husband before you'll obey him. No, he doesn't need to be consecrated. Even if he's an unbeliever, you need to be in subjection to him. It's that simple. And man, she used a word salad to try and avoid that.
Well, and Legend's comment here is great because it's a sneaky, it ends up being a sneaky way to say that she can go over her husband's head if she doesn't like what he's saying or doing.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So women have figured out how to leverage patriarchal hierarchy to get what they want. Oh, well, I will just go to the priest because the priest sits over my husband.
Or
And
I
I
will
would
just
get-
go on my knees and make a video about it.
And then they come up with
Mhm.
some absurd thing. Yeah, but what if my husband tells me to go out and murder somebody?
So, of
Like
course.
this ever happens? I mean, maybe 1 in 100 million times it happens, but this is not a typical thing you got to worry about. Sorry, lady.
Okay, so this was a bit of a rabbit trail, but it proves a point. And the point is that for all of the propaganda that the church tradcon right has run on women, it has not changed how women function at all. The
Mm.
women just come into the church and they adopt whatever language is necessary to justify feminism.
Yeah.
All
Well-
you've heard was feminist justifications. It's still feminism. They're still running an overtly leftist inverted hierarchy playbook. They're just using your Christian language now. And this is why the tradcons just get completely blindsided and destroyed by these people.
Yeah.
They have no idea how propaganda actually works, what it's actually for, and what it does and how it does what it does. Okay. And so you think that, oh, I'm just, we just tell people to come to church and then they will be drawn into the church and the church will convert them. No,
Mhm.
no, they converted the church.
Yes.
Yeah, and it definitely looks like they are jumping from one extreme to another. Like if you look at the
they're not.
previous,
No, they're not. They are
no,
not.
but in the example of the previous woman
Nope.
who was on her knees
Nope.
for her husband.
No. She was not jumping from one extreme. She was using different language to describe the same extreme that she was before.
Her nature didn't change.
Change.
She
Oh, okay,
changed her
okay.
mask.
Mhm.
Correct.
Yeah, and the words that she's using to
She
describe.
changed the
Did you-
language.
Change the
And-
language.
and-
Yeah.
And did you notice these women were dressed very, conservatively? They had the trad look, church going look on them,
Mm-hmm.
and they used the trad language, but still they could not just say, yes, I submit to my husband.
Mm-hmm.
Here's-
And watch, they might even, after watching this live stream, some women might even say, yes, I submit to my husband just to get the likes and attention. And then a lot
No,
of
that's a
men will be-
different problem. That's
Here's
a cluster
another
B
funny
problem.
thing. In this video, two points. Talked about her past and she had some mental issues and schizophrenia type and demonic, and she came into the church and all that was healed. And Pearl then, she was listening to all this, and woman was saying she wanted a godly man, and Pearl says, well, I can introduce you to some really good men. Oh, no, I'm not into that at all. So
what,
it's
are you a
still-
nun? What are you
no,
doing then in church? Why don't you go
No.
to the nunnery?
It's still the same thing.
Yeah.
No, I don't want you to introduce me to men because men are icky. He's probably not
No,
going to be
Steve,
good enough.
she's just,
No,
she,
no,
I
no,
think she wants, because
no,
if she didn't, she would go
no.
to the
This is something
monastery
else. This is
instead.
something else. Okay, she
Women,
has found no. She has found the ultimate Chad.
mm,
His name is Jesus.
yes.
And
well,
no man
sure.
that she encounters in church is going to be a good enough. It's not going to meet her
Right.
criteria.
Mm.
Well, you know what? He might be
Okay.
Christian, but you know what? He's not rich. He doesn't
Guys.
dress nice. She still needs tingles.
I'm having an issue here understanding that the concept of like, if women found Jesus as their boyfriend, right, as their entire devotion, right, if it was their entire purpose to pray to Jesus and just stay with Jesus, they would go to the nunnery. They wouldn't be in church looking for a man subconsciously. They will not admit it. They will not say it publicly, but their actions say otherwise, because they're still relying on it.
Jesus is not their Lord. He is their simping therapist.
Well, simping
Therapist is a
therapist,
good
but
word.
then, Nick, they go to church in hopes to find the best man that matches up to Jesus still. Because if they gave up
only
on
maybe.
the idea, if they gave up on the
Maybe.
idea of finding a man, they would be nuns. They wouldn't be on social media. They wouldn't be here, like preaching how virtuous they are.
If they really served Jesus from their hearts, had a heart after their own Lord, they would obey what he says and cut their crap.
This is mainly what they're talking. Their speech is mainly virtue signaling.
It is virtue signaling, but who is it virtue signaling to? Who is the target audience?
Herself.
I don't think so. I
Primarily.
think they are advertising to
No,
men.
a woman always does it for herself. And
No,
then
yeah,
secondly,
Nick's-
to be
Steve's right.
seen by other women doing it.
Correct.
Sisterhood.
The sisterhood. No, this is not about other men. That woman who was chattering away with Pearl couldn't give one rat's ass about her man. That he's a pay piggy. Okay. She needed to be seen saying the right things to her sisters. That's why she's here. That is why these women are willing to talk to Pearl at all. They need to be seen saying the right things to the sisterhood. That's why the word salad. That's why all of this.
Yeah, but their goal is for men serving them. Because without the men serving them and complying with them and doing as they say, like, none of that bullshit that they say matters. And
Again, you're thinking too rationally here. No.
Virtue signaling is more important than getting a man.
Correct. This is not about. She's already married. She doesn't need to.
She might not be married. I don't know.
Well, okay, but for the average married church woman, she doesn't need to do any. She doesn't need to virtue signal to men to attract men. Like, why? No, this is not about the men. This is about and look, it's 3 women on screen. Okay.
Mhm.
One of the things that I've talked about, and there isn't a whole show here, but is this idea that, okay, you see these 3 women on screen, right? They all need to be, all women need to be seen agreeing with all other women. We call that the longhouse, right? Okay. But what that does is it produces an environment where all women believe that they all agree already, because all women are part of the longhouse. All women are part of the sisterhood. Okay. So this woman honestly thinks that Pearl agrees with her. And the reason for that is these women, both Pearl and the 2 women on the screen with her, all grew up in a feminist world. they don't even understand that they're using feminist language. And if you told them that's what they were using, they would say, oh, no, feminism. You know, these Catholic girls here, oh, no, feminism, that's bad. I don't believe in that. But when you show them the feminism, okay, when you show them on screen, they're spewing feminism because it's all they've ever known. Okay, they don't know anything else. They don't know how to. Pearl does, and I don't know if she drags him through it or not in this video. Okay, but very few women know the difference between feminism and non-feminist language. All the women who did know the difference are dead now. They died of old age. Okay. Yeah. This woman, she looks late 20s. She was born into this. So and people say, aha, see, that's an example of propaganda working. Well, no, it's not. This isn't about propaganda at this point. This is literally just, that's the environment you grew up with. It. You don't know any better. You know, like, is that propaganda? No, not really. They're not trying to coerce these women into doing it. These women just are doing it.
Well, and they are doing it because they know that the Sims will bail them out.
Yeah, but again, that's
not really
secondary.
Yeah.
Okay, the propaganda, this is propaganda in effect because this is the Christian message. Come to our church, act pious. Maybe you'll find a man, but you can also be welcomed and praised for your pious nature. Now, and I don't even think the rest of you guys are getting it. She's saying these words for herself.
Yes.
She's trying to manifest her holiness by saying these words to convince herself that she is now this wonderful person and her past doesn't matter. And if she voices it to everybody, she'll convince herself and be seen by other women as being superior to them in her spirituality, in her
yeah, but what's the ultimate competition? Why what are women competing for in terms of their superior morality over other women?
A superiority, just that superiority over other women.
Okay,
that is the primary goal.
Right. This goes back to the Longhouse. Okay. She needs other women to know that she is a superior woman, that she's a more pious woman, that she's a more holy woman. Her Longhouse has a name. It's called the church. Okay?
Yes, guys, I understand that. But what else does she get by virtue signaling in front of other women that she is a better woman? What else does she get by doing that?
Attention and
you want us to say she can get a man? Maybe. That's secondary. Remember, in our modern world, women do not need men. They are not starving.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own car. They have their own apartment.
Mm-hmm.
They have their own job. In prior times where a woman would actually starve and not be able to live without a man, then she had a motivation to find a man. In our modern world, women really don't need men.
Well, they need slaves still. It would be nice to have
somebody
who would do
she can provide for herself without having a simp to provide for her.
Correct. You are thinking that these women are rationally thinking through the consequences of not having a man. Women think through consequences.
No, a lot of them probably even do have a man. It's just
no. You missed it. They are not rationally thinking through, oh, well, I need a man for this reason and that reason. No, women don't work like that at all. Okay. She is not sitting here thinking, I need to say this word salad so that other men see me as a more pious woman and choose me over the other women. She's not thinking like that at all. No. Sorry.
Hey, we have all seen these ultra holy, sometimes young virgins who are in church. And, they might even be attractive. And they reject every man in the church.
Mm-hmm.
They will not date any of them. They're basically asexual creatures but yet they're performing and doing all these pious things, and they have no interest in men whatsoever. We've all seen them.
Except the secular Chad. They won't tell you about.
No, they won't tell you about him. So the point
Their
here is
second
that
life.
okay, but Elena, the point that Steve is making is that that women in the church exist primarily to signal to other women their superiority. Okay.
Then why do they want men? Why do they beg men to come to church and wipe them up? Because inevitably
Do they?
it ends
Do they?
in the propaganda for men. Men, you wipe
do
up
they?
this reformed horse.
Oh no. Is that the women saying that, or is that the men saying that?
Well, it could be both. I've heard the traditional conservative.
No. You just dropped the word could. Okay. No, it's not. It's the men saying that. It's the priests saying, come to our church and wife up the horse. Are there occasionally women who follow along and say the same things, usually related to said men, in some, by marriage or otherwise? Yes. But no, that is not why we're talking about. Why women do what they do, not what the men do. Okay. This woman is not here to publicly virtue signal to try and find a man. That is not why she's doing this. Okay.
If she was doing this, if finding a man was her goal, she would be saying, yes, absolutely, I should obey my husband. And I should trust him in whatever he does, because I'm going to choose a good man and I will fully be able to trust him. She would give that message instead of the waffly message. It's performing for other women, not performing to be seen by a good man.
Guys, I know that to the audience, I know this is a sidetrack from what we're supposed to be talking about. But you need to understand that what Elena just did there is something that I deal with every day, about half an hour a day. Okay. So this is one of Elena's core sort of, I don't want to say talking points, because this is one of her core belief systems, that everything women do is in service of finding a man. Okay. And all women are just secretly looking to find and get the best man they can. No, they're not. They're really not. But see, this does tie back to the propaganda problem. Okay. These women, I'm going to state it this way. If these women were secretly looking to find the best man they could, then the TradCon propaganda would work on them. They would go to church. They would settle down with a man, get married, and start pushing out babies.
A lot of them do.
No, and in fact, we know that's not true. The dating rates are down, the marriage rates are down, and the birth rates are down. A few do. A few
can
end up
it
doing
work? Yes. But as a propaganda tool, come to church, find a woman. If you're a woman, come to church, find a man. That's the propaganda that the TradCons are doing. Is it working? No, because it's not really changing the marriage rate, even in those churches, or the number of babies they have in any large way. Oh, yes, you're going to find one or two here and there, and it might influence things marginally. But it's not really a successful option, because a lot of men, the majority of men, are going to go to these churches and are going to say, gee, these women reject me just the same as secular women. There's no difference. And the men are saying, yeah, she's talking a good game, but I'm not buying it. So I'm not wifing her up. Oh, yes, such a pious woman. She's coming in with 3 kids in tow. Single mother. No. Not doing it. So it's not on a large scale. It's just not working on the men.
is it the men who are not wifing up these women, or is it the women who, because we know also that women make
Yes.
their necessity their virtue, and they will
Nick.
say, I don't need no man, but then in reality is that men don't want her. So maybe a lot of men look at this insufferable woman and say, damn, I don't want to deal with her because she's
No.
full of
No.
shit.
Again, too rational, too high order thinking. Most men aren't thinking with their big head that much. Okay, sorry, it doesn't get that far. Most people operate on the ick. Okay, and that's as far as it goes.
Well, okay, even if they have ick for her, good, because it means that like they still listen to their
okay,
instincts, you
but
know?
here
Probably not what's going on.
right. Okay,
It's the ick for the guys, right? The woman has the ick for the guys. I can't find a man. Her standards are way, way the frick too high. And the guys are like, gosh, women are insufferable. And I can't get
Exactly.
one anyways. And if
But
I
there's
do, I've
two
seen how
types
they
of men.
treated everybody.
The simps that want her give her the ick, so she rejects them.
Mm-hmm.
The smart men
That she's
who
attracted
actually have a clue see her and say, I see that bullshit. I'm not going there.
to. Yeah.
So she's failing on. It's a fail on both sides.
On
yeah,
both sides.
right. I just use the term ick, and I know that that's a girl thing, but men have a visceral reaction to women too. Okay, that's really what I'm describing. A visceral reaction. They don't. These men, most of them, are not smart enough or educated enough, in red pill or whatever, to be able to describe rationally what it is that they're reacting to. All they know is they listen to these women put up these word salads and they go, ew, I don't like that. Okay. And here's the thing. We know men are responding this way. Why? Dating is at all-time lows. Marriage is at all-time lows. Childbirth is at all-time lows. So it doesn't, we can sit here and talk about why this is happening. That is chewing the scenery. Okay. That's not the point is that for all of the endless amounts of propaganda, I remember last year when we were subjected to thousands of posts on Twitter about how great it was that Sarah Stock was getting married. Okay. The propaganda train over that, particularly because the Pope himself blessed the marriage, right? The propaganda train over that marriage was off the chain. It was insane. Okay. And here we are in the year of our Lord 2026, talking about the fact that she was getting her back blown out by another dude while she is engaged to another man. Okay. That is what men are reacting to. There is no amount of propaganda that is going to convince men that, but that was just a special case. No. We men see these divorce rates. We men see these women, they come to church and who knows how many of them start slobbering on the knob of the priest. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
We men see this and we're going, nah, I'm good. And your propaganda doesn't mean anything to me.
Okay, look at what's happening. Is red pill growing?
Yeah.
Are there more? Even if young men don't know the term red pill, don't identify as red pill, but their sentiments, the way they talk, is that knowledge of, I just don't need a woman. They're not worth it. Is that growing? I would say absolutely.
It definitely
is. The propaganda of come
so.
to the church, wife them up and get married, is that working?
No.
In general, no. There might be a church here or there that does.
But then
I want to say this phenomenon, this reality of men awakening to reality, the truth, and it sounds like red pill knowledge, and well, that's kind of what the red pill's been saying for years now. You're just finally seeing it in front of your face. This is not just located to the Christian West. This is a global phenomenon.
Yes.
yeah. And the Threadcons could also say that we in the red pill are propagandizing and giving permission to men not to wipe up this horse.
Yes,
Why
we
they
are.
doing it in China? Why are they doing it in Korea? Why are they doing it in Japan? Why are they doing it in, Russia or, let's say
Yes.
Algeria or Egypt or Colombia or Argentina? I mean, come on.
Okay. Here, do you want to know the easiest thing in the world to propagandize? The truth.
Mm.
It is the easiest thing in the world to propagandize. Why? Because it's true. I don't need to come up with these convoluted explanations and arguments and permission systems and ideologies. Okay. I just literally say, here's the truth. And then the person looks at it and looks at the evidence and looks at the world around them and they goes, yeah, you're right. The sky really is blue. Okay. And so, yes, we are propagandizing the red pill. We are. But all we're really doing is describing the truth. And men are going, huh, yeah, you're right. That's the truth. Okay.
I mean, the red pill started off with men swapping field notes on dealing with women.
Right. Yes. The truth.
Yeah, but don't you think that if people knew only half of those truths, it would be better?
Oh, here we go.
No, we're
No,
not
I'm
going.
playing the
We're not
devil's advocate here. Yeah.
But my point is that the hardest thing to propagandize is something that is just false. And people will say, oh, but the Soviets did it. Or, you can do it for a time, but the systems upon which your argument are built. I mean, things like the things that allow your civilization to exist, that allow you to make this argument. Okay. Those things eventually degrade because when you're trying to propagandize somebody into not the truth, you must always deconstruct or take away the truth from that, and you must hide it from them. Okay. So this idea that you can propagandize anybody to do anything is easily disproven by the simple logic exercise of, well, have we actually convinced feminists to be not feminists?
Oh, have you actually convinced women to be not women?
Well, we've convinced a few. And this is what I said earlier. About 5% of the population will believe what they are told to believe. Somewhere between 5 to 10%. And that's the thing that's the confounding factor. Okay. About 10% of people will blindly follow whatever they're told. The internet has a term for this. They're called NPCs. They're not people in a strict sense of they have their own identity. Okay. But the reality is that for 90% of people, the propaganda that works is the propaganda that tells them what they want to hear and gives them permission to act on it. Okay. That's how feminism was installed. It told women what they wanted to hear and gave them moral, ethical, and ideological justification to go ahead and act on that. Okay. I'm not saying that there are, that everyone is above propaganda. There are a few people who are immune to it. We call them autists on the internet. There's actually been there's actually research work. If you go actually study propaganda for a living, one of their more vexing problems is why doesn't this work on everyone? And part of the reason they ask that question is because they've been told that you can propagandize everyone into doing anything. Okay. And so there a lot of research in it's just, I'm calling it propaganda. Really, a lot of research in the marketing space is why are there groups of people who we cannot convince? Go look it up. It's right there. Okay. They talk about it all the time. Because it's a huge problem for them. There's always groups that they can't reach. And so if you're trying to propagandize, I'm trying to think of an example that's in popular politics. You know, it's just, but the example that's coming to mind, I really can't use on YouTube for,
I probably know what you're talking about.
yeah, Nick gets it. Yeah. You know, why is there always this group that just does not believe the propaganda? Nick, yes, you are correct in what I, you know, okay. Actually, no, I think I can say it because I'm not going to make a judgment one way or the other. Okay. So of course we know that there is this thing going on in the Middle East, right? And there are two groups of people, and you know, and so that you've got your how do I put this? You've got your pro Eastern Mediterranean group, and you've got your anti-Eastern Mediterranean group. Okay. And there is quite a bit of concern right now over why they cannot convince the anti-Eastern Mediterranean group that the pro-Eastern Mediterranean group is actually the correct view of the world. And so that more than anything else is a good way to see how propaganda does not work. Even
Yeah. And it's okay. This exists in the church too. You have the Orthodox, the Catholics, some of the mainstream Protestants believing certain things, and the evangelicals believing other things. And there's a propaganda effort to convert to a similar thought. And it's not going to work. It's actually, they're choosing sides here.
Mm-hmm. So but here's the thing. If there exists a group that you cannot propagandize and in fact reacts highly negatively to your propaganda, well, then the idea that you can propagandize anybody to do anything is obviously false. Because if you could propagandize anybody to do anything, then you must be able to propagandize everybody to do the thing you want to do. Okay. And that's why I said I was going back and forth about bringing that up. I'm not making a judgment one way or the other on those groups' propaganda. The point being here is that no, there are always going to be groups that disagree with your propaganda. And that is what proves that propaganda is not a universal tool. People are propagandized only, people can only be propagandized when it is something that they already want to believe. Okay.
Yeah. So how I view it with these reformed horse that are in church, when they were having the feminist fueled fun life, they were embracing it. Now they hit the wall. They start shifting the blame. They are not taking accountability for their own prior actions. And it's very convenient path for them that the TradCons are offering. You just shift the blame. You just blame the feminist propaganda for everything. You get bailed out. You don't have to suffer the consequences of your own poor, bad choices. And then by embracing these women, they are also propagandizing men to wipe up this horse, to bail them out.
They're
So
trying to.
They're trying to.
Yeah.
It's not working. And the data says that it's not working.
It's not working. Yeah.
Okay. Which goes back to my point. You can only propagandize people to do something they already want to do. But the men are looking at these women going, ew, brother, ew. If you guys know the meme I'm referring to. Okay. it's not working because the men don't want to wife up the church land whale. But
it's also too late. Okay, some of this stuff worked 10 years ago. Some of these guys went in and, well, I'm one of them. Marry a single mom. Yeah, it was good until it ended in divorce.
Yeah.
So now I have a story about, yeah, it's really not a good thing, guys. Don't do it. And so now that awareness is influencing men, and there will be fewer men that line up to make the mistake that I made. Still, some will do it, but fewer will.
It's interesting how men learn from their own mistakes and from the mistakes of other men, and women, all they do, they don't even do the self-reflection work. They just say, well, it was just medieval feminism that lied to us.
Women
now, where is my promised Prince Charming? Now I deserve marriage.
Here's the taxonomy here. Men generally, not always, but generally learn from their own mistakes. Some men can learn from the mistakes of other men, but women cannot learn from the mistakes of themselves, and they definitely cannot learn from the mistakes of others. Okay, that's female solipsism is a term you could use to sum that up. Okay, the problem for the propaganda is, and this is what Steve was getting at. I'm going to take what Steve's story and I'm going to expand it. As men see more and more men get destroyed in court by these single moms, they're going to say, nah, I don't need that. Okay. And lo and behold, 10 years later, what do we see? More and more men going, nah, I'm not going to wife up the single mommy.
Yeah.
Okay. That's the thing about the truth is that it arrives slowly and disheveled. Okay, in a decrepit state, but it always arrives. And when it arrives, it destroys propaganda. That's why I said the easiest thing to propagandize is the truth, because you don't have to propagandize it. It comes for you whether you want it or not. Okay, so it is. You could say, well, I'm just propagandizing the truth. Well, if you have to propagandize, it's probably not the truth. If you have to work at it, because the truth is self-evident. And what I mean by that is it used to be that the propaganda of just marry these women was strong enough that men did it. And you can say, oh, well, it's strong. No, there just wasn't enough evidence, i.e. truth, available to men for men to go at scale. No, that's not true. The truth arrives late and disheveled. Okay. Propaganda arrives early and in a Lamborghini. Actually, yeah, this is a better way. Propaganda arrives early in a Lamborghini, in a shining Lamborghini and a bespoke suit with a Rolex watch. That's propaganda. Okay.
Yeah.
The truth arrives in a beat up 1980 Honda Civic wearing jeans with holes and grease and whatnot. And you can't ignore it. But it always does arrive.
Propaganda can work for a period of time.
Correct.
But
when there's no truth,
the truth prevails.
Correct. When there's no obvious truth of the situation around, propaganda can fill the void. But then the truth appears and you can't ignore it because the stinky guy with the beat up Honda Civic is hard to ignore. Okay.
I think we should draw this stream to a close, but there's an important lesson we've demonstrated right here. Plutarch, Nick, and I understand things, and we're talking about this. Elena, she's not on the same page. She's wanting to understand. But doesn't the Bible say if you don't understand, if a woman doesn't understand something, she should go ask her husband?
Well, that's what I'm doing here, guys.
I know she is doing it. But this demonstrates the reason why, go ask your husband. He can actually
Exactly.
think through and explain it. You still might not get it. You might not agree, but
Yeah.
that's life.
I still think women are subconsciously looking for men, whether they admit
Of course
it or
you do.
not.
Of
They are
course you do.
relying. They are
Okay,
relying on
guys.
men.
I'm gonna mute her.
Either-
I'm gonna mute her for a second.
No, why? Like you.
Okay. I'm gonna explain this. For a married woman, the biggest fear that they have is that some younger, hotter thing is going to come along and steal their man. Okay. What you are watching on screen is not some high level thinking. This is literally my wife's deepest fear being given form. And see, she's laughing. She knows that what I'm saying is true. Okay. She is literally just vomiting words because her deepest fear is that some hotter, younger thing is going to come along and steal me. Okay. Yeah, there it is. See,
Can you ever assure her enough
no, not possible.
to not fear this?
No. Sorry, not possible. So, guys, that's just not possible. Accept that now. Okay.
I'm not talking about me here. I'm talking about
yes,
other
you are.
women in
Yes,
church.
you are. And Steve isn't buying what you said for a second.
Look, guys, I'm
No.
just following the basic logic,
No.
okay? So if they were into Jesus, they would be nuns. They would
No.
be nuns, okay?
No.
They would go to the
No.
monastery and spend time there.
No.
Instead, they go to church that promises them Prince Charming
No.
and the perfect
Yes,
husband.
Elena. Remember, I've said this in the past. A woman looks at everything through her own experience.
Mm. Yeah,
It's
I
almost
get your point.
impossible for a woman to think abstractly in
I'm
someone else's
trying.
experience
I'm
from someone else's viewpoint without factoring in their own beliefs and experience. That's almost impossible.
Right. What she's actually doing is giving verbal form to her fear. Okay. She will dress it up in all the right language because she's listened to us for years now and she knows what the right language is. But at the end of the day, this is about one thing and one thing only. And I know this because we've
Okay,
had these
Fine,
conversations.
let's wrap it up, guys. I said everything I wanted to say. I'm giving up,
No,
okay?
you forgot something. You forgot something today.
Okay, yes, we have our weekly
Wait,
award.
before you do
Hold
that,
on. Uh-huh.
this proves what I
Okay,
did on
fine,
Wednesday.
Steve, you
Women
win.
leak information. By what they're saying and how they're saying it, they reveal their fears and beliefs and past, and there's a sub message there.
Mm-hmm.
And Elena kind of revealed it. And this is just a normal thing. There's nothing bad here. I'm not being critical.
I know.
Now go ahead to your closeout new segment.
Okay, guys, we have the weekly award nomination. I'm going to share with you the video, so watch it, and then I'd like to get your reactions. Okay. Let's see here. Where is it? are featuring Flourish with Lauren. And here is why. She's a married woman. She does a lot of videos about relationships, mostly from her car, which means that she is going places. Also, it looks like she lives in a warm place because she doesn't wear a parka jacket very often. Sadly, the stock market has gone down and I have a very low budget, so I can only afford to give her a boogie price. Here you go, guys.
Elena, are you sure you're being fair to her? Because Lauren has a very uplifting message.
Oh, what is that?
She is a perky presence and is supportive of marriage. I hope that her popularity does not sag over time.
I hope so too. Any more comments?
Look, she's pretty obvious. It's pretty obvious. She's selling property. She's selling something, and she is trying to convince you to do something. And it's pretty obvious how she's trying to convince you to do it. Since this is a propaganda episode, she is telling, what she's selling is, if you do what I say, you will get somebody like me. Now, you can't have her specifically. She's already got a dude. Okay. But if you see, if you do what I tell you to do, you'll get somebody who looks like me. Boing, 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 boing. See, boing, boing. You'll get a boing, boing, just like me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just man up and be a masculine man the way I want you to be a masculine man. And I determine your masculinity.
No, I don't know if she's saying that. I think she's saying, no, I think she's being pretty clear. Do as I tell you to do, and you will get somebody like me.
Yeah.
And she's selling herself in order to sell that to you. And we have a term for women who sell themselves. I don't need to say it. YouTube doesn't like those words, but you all know what I mean. There is a word to describe women who sell themselves in such a way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Nick, you've been really quiet there.
I'm just watching.
I was going to say, Nick, I don't think Nick needs to say anything at all about this one.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, well, anyway, guys, this concludes our live stream for today. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. Let us know what you think about the topics. And what are you doing on Wednesday?
Our shows are canceled next week. We're on vacation.
Right. Yes. Okay, cool. Yeah. Okay. Well, then no show on Wednesday, and we'll see you all next time.
There's no show on next Saturday either.
And, yeah, it's the whole week. Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see you all then in a week. Remember to please like, share, and subscribe. It helps the channel a lot. And take care, everyone. Okay. Have a wonderful day. Bye. Guys, thank you so much for being here with us today. If you're new here or if you're a returning subscriber, we appreciate you. Have you watched Anita Mokiet's saga by me, your Red Pill Babushka? If you haven't yet, we highly recommend you to watch this mini-series to better understand women, how they think and how they manipulate men. Anita Mokiet's saga is a comic parody of female nature and female behavior that includes Anita's adventures, her special and unique experiences, and various interactions with other funny characters. I created Anita to pick on female delusions, entitlement, and promiscuity, and and to show the reality of corrupted by women institutions. The first season shows the process of finding yourself through self-worth, self-love and self-respect meditation retreats and relationship sessions with various female gurus. The second season reveals her godly path to Jesus and her true power over men, femininity.
Hi, I'm Anita Mokets. I used to be on OnlyFans, but not anymore. Not after I found Jesus. I'm a trad wife now. I love Jesus. I'm not a feminist. I want a perfect husband with kids because now I feel that it's my true purpose in life to be a stay-at-home wife and mother. Because I deserve a family. I want to be married to the right man. So join our church and wife me up.
I will actually plug Plutarch's wife here. Watch her Anita Moorcat series on just talking about she gives these like acting. She takes on many faces and shows the reality of the church and trying to get men to buy into this traditional tradcon bullshit on wifing up all these fucked up women. There is a large amount of truth in her comedic series that I think men should watch.
I hope that you enjoy our videos. Please tell us what you think about them. We appreciate your feedback. Also, please like the videos. It helps us to build more awareness. And share our videos with your friends and those who need to see them. You never know, but you may save a man's life if he is more aware of female nature. You don't have to say anything when you are sharing our videos. You can just copy and paste them and let the chips fall where they may. Please watch our older live streams on both YouTube channels. You might also enjoy Marry Me Red Pill podcast by your Red Pill Babushka, based on the survey for biological men. It's an ongoing survey that you can participate in. Please share it with other men. The more men participate in this survey, the more statistically significant the results are. Please subscribe to our YouTube channels if you enjoy our content and if you'd like to see more content like this. Join us for interesting discussions with the Resurgence of Sanity guys on Saturdays at 9:15 a.m. Pacific on sBarre YouTube channel and on Wednesdays at 5:45 p.m. Pacific on the Resurgence of Sanity YouTube channel. Once again, thank you so much for joining us for interesting discussions. Thank you for your feedback and for your kind support. We appreciate you guys. We are looking forward to seeing you in our other activities as well. Take care everyone and have a wonderful day.